Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So I'm gonna get right into it because this is a long video. So if you want to watch it all or listen to me talk for quite a while, this is the video. So I recommend, grabbing a drink, grabbing a snack. We're gonna be here for a while. Before I start, I want to say that I did my best research as possible and I heavily referenced one article from BuzzFeed. All my sources would be linked down below. But if I missed anything or I said something incorrectly, please feel free to correct me in the comments or add to it. There's a lot of details I'm leaving out because it's a lot. But once again, the article is down below if you want to read it and get more details about what I'm talking about. Let's just start because this is my second time trying to record this and I'm hoping this is it, The Ren Stimpy show was an American animated TV show created by John Kricfalusi for Nickelodeon in 1991. It followed two characters, a chihuahua named Ren and a cat named Stimpy. Dark humor, sexual innuendos, adult jokes, and shock value are what made up this show, making it highly controversial. But why am I talking about an early 90s show in 2020? Because Comedy Central just greenlit the Ren and Stimpy show reboot. And I have a problem with that, and many other people also have a problem with this. And it all stems from the creator, Mr. Michael John Kricfalusi. I think I'm pronouncing that right, I'm not sure. But I don't care. From now on, I'm going to be calling him by his professional name, John K, just so I don't have to try to pronounce that name the whole video. Yeah, let's begin. So who was Mr. John K? John K is a Canadian animator, blogger, music video director, and voice actor, better known for the show The Ren and Stimpy Show. It was one of the first Nicktoons in Nickelodeon if you remember those, but as I mentioned before, it was filled with adult content, so it made it very different to other Nicktoons like Doug or Rugrats. In 1992, John K was fired from Nickelodeon according to the LA Times. He had repeated run-ins with network executives over the raunchy nature of his series and failed to deliver deadlines. But that didn't stop him from working. He has worked doing commercials and music videos for artists like Bjork, Tenacious D, and Miley Cyrus. Other shows you might know him from are The Ripping Friends, an adult party cartoon, a Ren and Stimpy spin-off. I've never watched them, so I have no idea what they're about. Ren and Stimpy has also been cited as an influence in shows like SpongeBob SquarePants, Adventure Time, and Rick and Morty. So if you've never heard about it before, but you know these shows, well, they were very highly influenced by them. But here's the kicker and why I'm making this video. On March 2018, John K was accused of sexual harassment by two women when they were still underage. Maybe I phrased it wrong. They accused him as an adult, but the sexual harassment started when they were underage. And oh boy, do I have a lot to tell you about this. But first, I want to talk about my opinions on Ren and Stimpy because I don't want people to think I'm a hater or I have something against adult cartoons, because that's not the case. I actually used to enjoy Ren and Stimpy as a child. I was an edgy kid. I like creepy things, I like gross out humor, and I like horror, so Ren and Stimpy was kind of up my alley. Other shows I enjoyed when I was a child / a teenager were Beavis and Butthead, Invader Sim, Daria, South Park. So you kind of get my drift on the kind of things I was into. But while most of these shows I can watch as an adult and enjoy, Ren and Stimpy is not the same. My mom didn't really know that what I was watching was wrong, because back then, and I feel like still, a lot of people have this mentality, cartoons are for children and not for adults. So why would cartoons for children have adult content? My brother was also a big fan of them, so usually if I watched them was because my older brother was watching them. I'm gonna be honest, most of the humor flew over my tiny child brain. I didn't understand it. I just liked the cartoons for how they looked, and that was about it. As an adult, I've seen some scenes here and there, and I don't think I would enjoy it in the same way. I honestly don't think I could sit through it like other childhood shows I could watch over and over. Like Courage the Cowardly Dog, give me that shit. I'll watch it over and over. I don't know if I could do the same with Ren and Stimpy. While I do admit that I've seen some clips as an adult and found them funny, After I learned what John K did, just couldn't care less to even try to watch them. Let's just start talking about the sexual harassment allegations against John K. And as I said before, I'm heavily referenced this from a BuzzFeed article. So if you want to read it, I'll link it down below. But in this 2018 article, Robin Bird and Katie Rice said the truth about John K. They accused him of sexual harassment and grooming while they were underage. Bird said on this interview that she was in a sexual relationship with him at age 16 and moved to California to be with him when she was 17. The story I'm about to tell is a real story, and it contains very disturbing allegations and behavior by an adult towards young girls. So consider this your trigger warning. If you're uncomfortable with any of this, I would skip the video, or I would mute it and just watch the speed paint if that's what you're into. Here are some things Robin Bird said on her BuzzFeed interview. It was 1994 and she was 13 when she sent John K a video of herself talking about her work and how she wanted to be an animator in the future. Bird thought that getting the attention of the studio might be the path to getting a job when she was older. And when John K replied to the letter, it seemed like her dream might finally come true. She states, "I had built up these characters and this mythos of Ren and Stimpy in my head. It was exciting." John K, a 39-year-old at this point, would send her boxes filled with toys and art supplies. He helped her get an AOL account and told her she would become a great artist one day. He even visited her at her home in Tucson, Arizona. When Bird was only in 11th grade, John K flew her to Los Angeles to tour his studio and talk about her future. In the LA trip, 16-year-old Robin Bird was in a room when John K touched her inappropriately through her pajamas as she lay frozen on the floor. And that was the start of everything. In 1997, Bird, now a senior, once again flew to LA to meet with him, this time to start an internship in his studio, Spoomco. Not sure if that's how you pronounce Spoomco, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. She also started living with him and was referred to as his girlfriend. After graduating from high school in Tucson, she moved with him permanently, now a 17-year-old girl. She told herself that this was going to be the launch of her career, which unfortunately never happened. She left her dreams of being an animator so she could get away from him. There's a lot of detailed information about their relationship in the article if you're interested in reading it. In order to talk about how their quote-unquote relationship ended, we first must talk about Katie Rice. Katie Rice wanted to be an artist since she was in the 4th grade. She loved old Nicktoons like Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy. That's when she decided she wanted to be a cartoonist. Rice started writing to John K when she was 14 through AOL. Her family was reluctant about her career choice, deeming it unrealistic. She thought that John K would give her the validation she needed. In 1996, when Katie Rice was still underage, John K wrote flirty letters to her that said things like, "I bet you'll be up to no good, just like me," and would also masturbate while she was on the phone with her. There's documents saved by both women that corroborate their stories, old letters, emails, and transcripts of AOL conversations. Conversations in LA to Katie Rice said things like, "I'm crazy about you, Katie," and "Do I ever make you tingle?" At the time, Rice didn't see the harm of getting this type of messages from a 40-year-old man, and her friends agreed with her. There was never a physical relationship between the two, but Rice recalls late-night phone calls while she was still 14, where he said, "Repeat after me, John digs lights in my..." And I think we can both assume what came next. I'm going to refrain from saying that word because it's disturbing. It took a friend telling her what it all meant in high school for her to understand what was really going on. She was shaken but still trusted him. She claims he was his only friend at the time since she was in a new school in Nevada. John K attended her 15th birthday party, which he confirmed in a DVD extra of Ren and Stimpy in 2003. In 1997, he stopped contacting her, leaving Rice devastated. This was probably because he was visiting Bird and entering a quote-unquote relationship with her. And I'm going to keep calling it quote-unquote relationship because this was not a relationship. A 40-year-old man does not have a relationship with a minor. And a 40-year-old man that is a famous animator, that's abuse of power. And I refuse to call that a relationship. In 2000, Bird broke up with him briefly, and that's when once again John K started contacting Katie Rice. She worked on and off with various jobs, such as inking and character design. Bird and Rice were internet friends at this point, I believe. Bird said that she thought John Kay was replacing her with a younger woman. Their relationship ended in 2002. If you want more details about Bird's relationship, quote-unquote relationship, with John Kay, in the BuzzFeed interview, there's detailed explanations about what it was like between two of them. I decided not to add it to this video because it would be too long, but I feel like it paints a picture of exactly how wrong this all was. After their relationship ended, John Kay became more persistent with pursuing Katie Rice. In 2004, Rice was offered a job by John Kay. It was then that he started to sexually harass her again. She would work at his home office, and Rice told Bird how John Kay would do bizarre things, like wait naked for her in the living room and hang out with his wiener out of his pants. She also said that he told her that his friend's advice to get her was to just quote-unquote rape her one day. John Kay's attorney denies all of this and says that the rape comment was just a joke, which just tells you a lot, doesn't it? Rape is never a joke. Let's get that straight. Rice mentions that the reason she never left was because this asshole told me when I was 13 that I was special and I don't have any self-esteem, so I believed it. She was also hired when she had no better prospects and was rejected from art school. Once again, it was abuse of power. Katie Rice finally left after 2 consecutive incidents happened. The first one was the half threat of rape mentioned before, which personally I don't think is a half threat. I think he was pretty serious. She also claims to have found child pornography in his computer, which his lawyer also denies. Rice mentioned detail of what she saw on the article, but I'm gonna refrain from saying that now because they're very disturbing and I would rather, if you want to know, you read them, but I just don't want to repeat them because it's a lot. She did try to report it 3 times. The first 2 she panicked, but the third one was successful. Unfortunately, this led to nothing. There's a little something called the Statute of Limitations. The Statute of Limitations is a set amount of maximum time after an event when legal actions can begin. Once this time passes, no claim can be filed and the courts don't have any jurisdiction. So basically, the time in which the police could have done something had passed, which honestly, in my personal opinion, is a stupid law, because if you did something wrong, it should always be wrong. But hey, maybe I just don't understand law. I'm not a lawyer. The LAPD declined to comment on this for the article. This is what pushed her to make her story public. And you think things can get worse than this. But oh boy, he has a non-apology. Chris Lucy lawyers confirm, and once again I'm quoting this, for a brief time 25 years ago, he had a 16-year-old girlfriend. Can you even call her a girlfriend? He denied that his client pursued Katie Rice, said it wasn't sexual harassment, and that he never had child pornography. But he has also confirmed that the rape joke was real. So how is the rape joke not sexual harassment? Explain that to me, Mr. Lawyer. This was not a secret though. In a book about the history of Ren Stimpy, there is a mention of, and I quote once again, because I don't want you to think I'm making this up, so I'm quoting this, a girl he had been dating since she was 15 years old, referring to Robin Bird. He clearly didn't see a problem, and tons of people just let it pass. Tony Moore and Gabby Swar, who both worked at Warner Bros. At the time the article was published, also worked at Spumka when Bird was there. They alleged that John Kay sexually harassed female artists all the time, including underage girls. It was known in the industry. Bird and Rice never came forward with their story back then, fearing people would think they sounded crazy. They also fear what his fans and supporters might say or do. And once again, you think it can't get any worse. But no, it gets worse. His lawyer says he was sorry for his behavior and blamed it all on his undiagnosed bipolar disorder and ADHD. It was all poor impulse control. He said, for nearly 3 decades he had relied primarily on alcohol to self-medicate. Since that time he has worked feverishly on his mental health issues and has been successful in stabilizing his life over the last decades. This achievement has allowed John the opportunity to grow and mature in ways he never had a chance before. Just reminder, he was in his 40s. Not saying that you can't have mental health issues and all that in his 40s, but he was in his 40s, okay? Just leaving that out there. Now, in my opinion, blaming mental illness is the lowest of the low. You can't, like, there's a few things you can do that are lower, but blaming mental illness is like really down there. He's trying to take all of the blame from himself and blame it on his disorders, which tons of people have, by the way. He's not unique in having bipolar disorder and ADHD. It also puts more stigma into something like bipolar disorder, which already has like not a good reputation, and the stereotypes around it are awful and inaccurate. I just simply think it's disgusting. And once again, a non-apology. Bert said in the interview, "He ruined a good bit of my childhood and my early adulthood, gave me PTSD, and forced me to change careers, putting my life 10 years or more behind. He's an abuser in the way that he will pull you into a relationship with him and then tell you who to be and what he wants from you. Everybody needs to know about it." Katie Rice said, "I became a better artist by working for him. I am not grateful for it. I wish I hadn't. I wish I were a worse artist now and I didn't have all of this bullshit to deal with." I also want to add that according to the BuzzFeed article, there's an interview with Howard Stern in the 90s where Stern asked him about one of his characters, Sody Pop, and mentioned she was quote unquote hot chick with big cans and nice legs, and then John Kay adds with a smile, and she was underage too. He clearly had a thing for underage girls, and I don't think it had anything to do with bipolar disorder. My personal opinion though, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just stupid and I don't know about this, but I have friends with bipolar disorders and I have tons. I know so many people with ADHD and I think I might have ADHD, so don't see the relationship there with being into underage girls and bipolar and ADHD. But once again, my personal opinion. I also want to add that the source of this interview has been deleted from YouTube, so I couldn't watch it. I found a different interview with Stern in 96. I'm going to link it down below. They don't talk about what I just mentioned. It's like a 20-minute interview, and it's very weird and awkward, and they say some things that make me very uncomfortable. So I just you should hear John Kay talk if you're interested in that. Because I'm not a big fan of Howard Stern to begin with, but that interview made me so uncomfortable, and they say some things in that interview. Oh no. It's a lot. I want to share something Katie Rice said. She still works in animation. It's relating to art versus artist thing. I have a video on it, and I think what she says relates a lot to like what I talked in that video and what I've always thought about the art versus artist debate. So I wanted to share this little bit with you. I know a lot of people struggle with the art versus art thing, and I get it. Like, I love Rosemary's Baby, but would I watch another movie made knowing what I know now? If you don't know about Rosemary's Baby, it's a Roman Polanski film, and he has like tons of allegations of rape. So that's what she's referring to here with Rosemary's Baby. I would say no, I don't want to watch it. I don't want any part of that. There's nice people you can hire. There's nice people who can make things. There's nice people who make cartoons. They're just as fucking good. And I agree. It's kind of what I pointed out before in that video. Why would you consume media and content from bad people when there's tons of people who are good and deserve it more? You know? Why watch Ren and Stimpy when you can watch something made by non-problematic? And I don't want to say non-problematic, because non-problematic means you've never done anything wrong, and I don't believe it. But I'm sure there's tons of animators that are not pedophiles. Although I do want to mention that as of this year, we've learned that the animation business is horrifying, and so many people abuse power in that industry. So if this is an industry you're into and you want to be a part of, be very careful and just know that it's not worth it. A job is not worth it. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to, have a dream and want it so badly and think, oh, if I just put up with this, then maybe I can do this. It's not worth it. I don't think it is, at least. But yeah, due to all these allegations, John K will not be involved with this Comedy Central Ren and Stimpy show reboot. And according to them, he would not receive any direct financial gain from it, which I was like kind of looking for if that was possible. Apparently Nickelodeon has the rights to Ren and Stimpy, and he doesn't own the characters or anything like that. But it's always fishy to me because he created the characters. But yeah, let's say he can't financially gain directly from this reboot, but can he indirectly gain from it? And here's where I'm gonna talk about the problem with the reboot. And I just want to mention that this following part is my opinion, but I've seen similar concerns echoed through social media, so I'm not alone. So yeah, he's not gaining anything directly from a new show. There's plenty of ways of indirectly gaining from it. He did create this show, and you can't take that away from him. He might use his name and do things like commissions, Butch Hartman, Patreon, OnlyFans, Kickstarter projects. He actually had a very successful campaign on Kickstarter. It was called John K's Cans Without Labels, and it was a campaign published July 18, 2012, before these allegations were made, I should add, but just like to get a scope of the reach he had in 2012. It was backed up by over 3,000 people and achieved over $130,000, past the original goal. As you can see, just being related to a popular 90s cartoon gives him quite a platform. And he's also worked with artists, I said before, Tenacious D, B. York. I think he also worked with Weird Al and Miley Cyrus, so he has like quite some reach. And I feel like it's absurd to think that bringing back his old show, even if it's not involved, and they claim it's going to be completely reimagined, but I think it's kind of ignorant to just say, oh, he's not going to gain from it. Nothing good is going to come from this for him. I don't believe that. And I also know that not a lot of people know about John K, because I was seeing people tweeting about it, and I've known about it for some time now. But I saw so many people saying they had no idea. So that's part of the reason why I'm making this video, because I feel like more people need to know, because I've seen so many people talk fondly and nostalgically about Ren and Stimpy. Here's some things that I think John K could do as the creator and using his name. I think we could have another Butch Hartman in our hands, imposing his fucked up views to his impressionable younger fans and the new fans he's gonna gain if this reboot does happen, because I'm pretty sure there's gonna be new fans. Even though I don't think Ren and Stimpy humor is good humor nowadays, it wouldn't surprise me. There's a certain demographic that kind of humor, they're totally into that. So what's even more disturbing for me is that he could totally use this to groom people again. There's tons of people who have no idea, as I just said before, what John K did, and he was never arrested. He was never prosecuted for this. There was never a trial. And I feel like maybe younger people just see the word, oh, it's just an allegation. He didn't go to jail. He wasn't arrested. He did nothing wrong. Well, there's like proof that he definitely did something wrong. And I feel like the law failed these women. He might make promises to help younger animators who want to break into the industry. There's so many possibilities, because in the end, Ren and Stimpy is a symbol of him. And I don't know if this is true, but I've seen people talk about this on Twitter. Not just now, I've heard it from before. I'm not sure if it's on Ren and Stimpy or another of his cartoons, but I keep seeing people mention that in one of his old episodes, he makes fun of one of his victims. I don't know if it's Rice or Bird or someone else, which is so fucked up if it's true. But I couldn't find anything solid about this. So if you know anything about this and have like proof or what episode it is, what cartoon it is, please let me know in the comments, because I just think that's just so fucked up. I also want to talk about the other problem with rebooting Ren and Stimpy. I feel like reboots are not inherently bad. I personally very much enjoy the new movies on Netflix for Rocko's Modern Life and Invader Sim. I watch them a lot. I love both of those shows so much. And I thought the movies were so good and just what I needed to kind of like get a little bit of nostalgia back without getting a full series. But here's the thing. There's so many group of people who constantly get overlooked when it comes to adult animation, especially like animation in general. But I feel like adult animation especially gets like a very select group of people making it, right? So just, my opinion here, but why can't we have more shows created by women or people of color? I feel especially like Black people were given a boost of offers in June after the big boom in the Black Lives Matter movement. And the sad thing is that most were just trying to be trendy and cool, riding the wave of let's act like we care about Black people when they really didn't. Because tons of Black artists on Twitter have been coming forward and talking about how they got all these offers in June and got ghosted when Black Lives Matter stopped being trendy. Black Lives Matters isn't a trend that passed and that we can move on to other things, and no. It's still a reality. Black people keep getting overlooked and murdered and just treated like they're lesser. And it angers me that people have the nerve to approach people with offers because it's, oh, everyone's doing it, we're cool, and then they ignore them when it comes to getting actual work done. It's horrifying, and I can't even imagine like the trauma that must bring to the artist, thinking, oh, finally I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna make my dreams come true, and then just like be ignored. We were just using you for clout. It just infuriates me. But you know what, we do get a show created by John K back on TV, so cool, right? Anyways, it's already been a bit, but I just want to say a few things before I end this. I think I made my feelings over this reboot perfectly clear. I think it's a terrible idea. Should probably scrape it. Comedy Central, scrape it. I know nobody in Comedy Central is watching this, but scrape the idea. Don't do it. Don't, please. Instead, you could give opportunities to people who often get overlooked, and create new stories. There's so many amazing artists, animators, writers, just creative minds out there who deserve it a lot more and could just bring like so much more. I would like to see more good adult animation in the future. I think it's a genre that is severely lacking in diversity. Also, I've seen people saying they should hire women to work on the show. I've seen it like the past couple of days on Twitter. Like, oh, let's make up for the women and have women animate the show. Don't do that, please. Don't have women animating a show with characters created by that jerk. Just have nobody animate them, please. Society has moved past the need for Ren and Stimpy. I want smart, relevant, funny, well done adult cartoons with a side of raunchy or maybe some disturbing, please. I think it's possible to have funny, smart, relevant adult cartoons. I don't think humor has to be stupid, especially not in 2020. But that, once again, just my opinion. And just, I want to say, remember to always speak your voice. And if you have it, use your privilege and your platform to speak up on things that you see are wrong in any industry. Not just in the animation industry, in any industry. I got like a few people on my Butch Hartman video saying like, why would you talk about him? So stupid, he's not gonna notice you, blah blah blah. This is so stupid, nobody cares. I'm sorry, but I feel like talking about these things, making more people aware in case they didn't know something, is very important, and it can keep away people from making mistakes. For example, I think trusting someone like John K, big mistake. Don't do it. Don't trust that guy. I don't believe one little bit he's gotten any better. But that, once again, my opinion. Please, John K, don't contact me. I'll block you. Like John K would contact me. I'll punch him. Anyways, guys, I know this was a longer video. Once again, the links to my sources will be down below. I do recommend you give a read through the BuzzFeed article. It goes into a lot more detail about this woman's experience with John K. And when it comes to like people who love giving the benefit of the doubt to rapists and pedophiles, I know that giving as many details as possible shouldn't be necessary, but it very clearly shows a picture of how real this was and how this actually happened. And just that John K doesn't deny most of it, he just denies some of it. Just be careful out there. If you are an artist, if you're a fellow artist, be careful who you trust, because there's people who unfortunately are terrible and want to take advantage of you. And I would hate to see something like, I would hate to see this continuing being a thing in the art industry, because I feel like this year we've learned about so many people who are just abusing their power and abusing their influence. So please be careful out there, and I hope you have a good day, good night, good fight, and I'll see you on my next video, which will hopefully be a lighthearted video. I also want to say that if you want to support me and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I have an Instagram, Twitter, if you want to follow me. I also have a suggestion box in the description if you have any suggestions for future videos. I would mostly cover anything if I find it interesting, from art, conspiracy theories, to whatever. I might just cover it. And that's it. Bye.